Welcome to our 5 on 5. I'm pleased to be joined today by Republican State Representative Christine Goodwin. She's running for Senate District 2 seat, representing Josephine County, parts of Jackson and Douglas County. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you. You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so you've been a state rep for 3 years now. What is your greatest accomplishment in that time?
Well, I think the thing I focus on now that I know the work very well in the legislature is to really keep my constituents in mind. How do I best serve them? What are their concerns? What are their issues? And work in my communities, which I have done quite often, to really go into my communities and listen to what their needs are. So given that, I've worked on veterans issues, able to get a veterans cremains bill, able to get the veterans home for Southwest Oregon. I've been serving in healthcare, so a lot of big issues in healthcare. I really advocated for our rural pharmacies are really struggling with pharmacy benefit managers that are really predatory in their business practices. I've been working there. Wildfire is a big thing, of course, in Southern Oregon.
Sure.
So teamed up with some other legislators to get wildfire tax, state tax exemption, which is huge because these folks are getting settlements, pay full federal state taxes on the entire amount, including attorney fees. So we were able to get that state tax exemption. What else have, I think mostly in healthcare, really working on the Measure 110 issue. I was on that joint interim committee, which was quite lively during last session. Lots to talk about there if you're interested. And I've just recently been to the border.
Okay. Now, according to the Oregon Capitol Chronicle, you and your opponent, Noah Robinson, both support gun rights, parental right or parental choice in schools, low taxes, resource industries like timber, as well as law enforcement, and you both oppose abortion, correct? Correct. Okay, so what's the difference between the two of you?
Well, you know, they're really on our core conservative values. We are both very conservative. I have a CPAC rating of the #1 most conservative Republican serving. So I don't think there's any difference there. My voting record is very conservative. I think the difference is how we engage in the process, in the legislative process. So in the building, I will protest. I mean, we have one-party rule in Salem. I protest a lot of bad legislation. I vote no. I try to be an obstacle. I try to work against bills and amend them as best I can. But I also will consult with people. I really want to grasp the issues. I want to understand. I use my pragmatism. I'm thoughtful about bills. I really try to be resourceful and work with others. I work with my team, so I confer with my colleagues. We all have specialties in the legislature, and I will talk to Democrats. I will talk to people about bills and make sure that we can do the best work for Oregonians.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Okay. We'll have much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Republican State Representative Christine Goodwin, running now for Senate District 2. Obviously, you've seen it in the legislature this year. Minority parties and state legislatures across the country walking out to deny a quorum for the majority party. Happens in many states, shall we say. Your predecessor, our potential predecessor, Senator Art Robinson, can't run for re-election because he walked out too many times. If elected, would you ever walk out?
Sure, and I would say my caucus has in the House, in my second term, we've discussed walkout several times. So a walkout is a nuclear option. I mean, one has to really strategically look at that overall. You have to get all of your caucus on board with that. Often it doesn't stop anything. So one of the calculations, is it a pause or is it a stop? Because when you walk out, if you don't have in our case, we have Tina Kotek as our governor, and it becomes her decision-making. So most of the control in a walkout will end up being in the governor's hands, which if you're a minority party but you have your governor, then that's a different calculation. So I think a walkout is a huge calculation. We take it very seriously. But yes, I would walk out. But an example of that is walking out on cap and trade. Okay, so what did they end up coming back, and what did Kate Brown do? She did an executive order and basically reversed. And so this recent walkout was about expansion, if you can imagine, of extreme abortion policy and on parental rights. So we're still able to, the walkout did accomplish those two things.
Most elections are decided by voters 50 plus. If elected, what
Right.
would you do to help that population?
Well, I think that's really key that we have in mind as legislators to at least gain balance back in Salem. I think better decisions overall are made with balance. So I work really hard on and paying attention to the other seats in the state. I'm down here in a very conservative plus red area, but a lot of our reps are not. So with redistricting, a lot of those areas where it became more purple, they sort of diluted a Republican stronghold with Democratic voters. So even when I didn't have an opponent in my House District 4 race, I raised money and I contributed to those campaigns to help some of those Republicans come across the finish line. And it was close. I mean, Oregon did not get bluer in the last election cycle. We picked up 2 seats, so we were no longer in a super minority in the House. And we were within we were under 4,000 votes each in the House and the Senate and gaining balance there. And a lot of those races were just a few hundred votes apart. So it is still, though we're still defending those seats.
Okay, great to see you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.